Have you ever asked how colors, images, objects, and textures from the space around you have emerged? There are people in the world that solve the needs of the habitat and transform the space into life experience. They are the designers and the architects who have the ability to translate the needs of the people and communicate them through the construction of spaces, visual structures, objects, and different materials that make life easier in our daily lives. But since when does the human do this? Has our way of living in the material environment created by humanity evolved in history? We invite you to learn more about human creative ability through design in history.
The first form of construction we know is the cave, similar to our children's games pretending to protect us from outside conditions. The Altamira cave was discovered in Spain more than a century ago and has existed for 14,000 years or more and was included by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. The most important thing is its engravings and paintings made over thousands of years and where we can see the need to communicate and capture information through graphic representation of the environment. It's known as the Sistine Chapel of Prehistory. This site shows us these people were already developing techniques, making use of pigments, making decisions about how to represent any animal, among many other things that are inherent to design. This structure tells us that Mani was a nomad and he found natural spaces to live short seasons in different territories, adapting himself to the environment around him. Later, he will discover the process of farming, becoming sedentary and transforming the environment by strong buildings around the crops.
Life in community always has been the most important characteristic for the evolution of the human. The Gothic and pre-Hispanic cities, temples and power buildings demonstrate a strong capacity to grow a symbol and material structure that regulate all the relationships with deities, hierarchies, and everyday life. Over the centuries, humanity took advantage of their own creative potential and raised the Renaissance in response to need to explore the arts and the engineering ability of them, making visible their interdisciplinary work. It's born in Italy and it extends to Europe since 1500, and its objective is increase the human innovation ability, based in the antique teachings of Greece and Rome as managers of the architect in Occident. Da Vinci, Brunelleschi, Raffaello, El Greco, Miguel Angel. These are names that until today we celebrate for their high level of realism and inventiveness, not only in their final works, but in the processes that allow them to immortalize themselves through sculpture, painting, the magnificent domes, and other architectural structures that still amaze us today.
4 centuries later, the evolution need for evolution leads to men to modernize still more through techniques and better solutions to a daily new life. The steam machine appears as representative of industrial era or modern era in which the objects are crowded. The way to mobilize cities are changing and have more inhabitants. Skyscrapers appear, the luxury, the automotive, and more color. The Art Nouveau will express graphically female and organic forms in every place. Romanticism against industrialization, but being part of it by replicating in print advertising. Louis Comfort Tiffany and Antonio Gaudí reminds us of the beauty of a short but fundamental aesthetic period.
Mediating between them is the born of Bauhaus Academy in Weimar, Germany, as the most representative former of architects, designers, and artists who searched that aesthetic was more universal and not the luxury of few. Bauhaus promoted the use of industrial materials like steel, some leathers, glass, combined with linear shapes and basic colors to be replicable, usable, and a best price for more people. The furniture from this epoch generally was made in wood. Form follows function. It will be one of their principles, and architects and designers as Mies van der Rohe, Walter Gropius, Kandinsky, among others, shaped to industrial design and graphic design. They see the possibility to work together for a purpose of function and aesthetic of totally modern concept.
Now, are you noticed that our university has clean design lines in some buildings? That's because the architect Leopold Rother designed our beautiful campus and many of its buildings. He was one of the architects with high influence from the Bauhaus. He worked in Germany in the Second World War. He was destitute and exiled. After, he emigrated to Colombia and designed, among so many projects, our university in Bogota. White colors in the wall structure, black lines bordering staircases, roof, and windows. The glass allows the communication between inside and outside, generous spaces for human interaction, and immediate contrast with nature. A little oasis amid the city chaos. Possibly the university with the most beautiful space in our country.
Finally, along with history, we see that the designers are a group of freelancers and complementary specialists who make possible that which many times has become imperceptible but that facilitates your daily life. We wanted to show you how the design has been present in the history and your context through every piece of furniture that you use, every still image or in a movement that impacts to you, every structure that protects you from cold or heat, because they were imagined, thought out, drawn, planned, organized, and it put in the context not only between designers but with other professionals and people who allow us to build well-being through the space that you walk.